Hey everyone, this is Ricky Studencki. He is in the same year as me in year 12, but now he's working in Israel at an internship. So, Ricky, tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Ricky. I'm like Luca, like recently graduated high school and currently spending instead of going to university, I'm spending 8 months in Israel at the moment, living here independently on a program called Art, and also as well like interning in startups in like the Israeli startup ecosystem, which is the second biggest in the world, right behind Silicon Valley. So what I do here is I'm interning at a marketing agency called Nomadigo, which does marketing, PR, advertising, and video production. And what my role is, I'm one of their programmers for one of their side projects, to which it's like a media channel called Nightlife. And now like I'm just like traveling, like living my life here, and like really growing as a person. As you know, I just like want a break from like being at home, and like being here in Israel is just like it's like so much fun.
What's your favorite thing about Israel, the internship, everything?
I think my favorite thing is more the diversity of culture here. It's
Okay,
like why I really because the reason why is because like Israel is the home of the Jewish people, and like it's very and like you have a lot of people like from like around the world, such as Africa, America, Europe, Australia, Asia, or even some parts in the Middle East where like Jews come from there to go to make Aliyah to Israel, because it's Aliyah means like going back home.
that's
So what?
sorry. Go on.
So that's why there's like a huge diversity of culture here, and according to Startup Nation, like 9 out of 10 Israelis are actually one like first and second generation Israelis, because like their parents or grandparents have originated from those countries I mentioned earlier. So that means is that like anything that's Israeli has a different has a different twist from around the world. So like for example, there's like the Turkish Israelis, so where like they have a completely different culture, such as like how they make their food, and like how they make their food, what the customs are from people from like Morocco who have their different customs, or people even in America. So it's a huge diversity of people, pretty much. It's like far more multicultural than
Sorry, I didn't get what you said the last bit. Did you say far more multicultural than Australia?
it's more multicultural than Australia.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that you say that because like Australia is known for being a multicultural country, and then there's Israel, which you're saying is even more multicultural. So it's just I think that's amazing. Anyway, one thing I really wanted to talk to you about was the schooling system because I know you're really passionate about that. The first thing I want to get into is what do you think the flaws of the schooling system are?
That is a very, very, very good question. I think it's the way people perceive. I think more one thing is, first of all, like we're very lucky to be able to be like come out of school no matter what mark we got, to like be highly educated people who are very self-aware about the world we live in, and like to be able to have a lot of opportunities to do like what we want in life. That's one thing. But to the flaws, I think it's more like one thing. There's a few flaws that like I see in it. One thing is like the way education is perceived. Like education is like a very good thing, a very powerful thing, and like with as you have with HSC, like it like puts fear into people to do well. That's why people do so well, because they're driven by fear, and that's like absolutely wrong way to like treat education. Because like education should be something like you love doing, something that you're excited
Creativity.
about, creativity, and there's a lack of creativity. I'm saying like from our experience, because it's like you have to like memorize essays, you have to like do lots of tests upon tests upon tests, but there's no like creativity such as like problem solving, because I never really experienced what's actually like to solve a problem until I came here interning in Israel. And like the way it works is, first of all, problem solving is very fucking hard. And like as like you go 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And when
Yes.
you solve it, more problems come up. So you have to find out more and more solutions. And that's what school didn't teach, but more it's like they're good at developing the brain, the cognitive processes. But generally, I mean, it's also like the way people are like programmed, like to or what path they choose to go on a conventional path of life. What I mean by that is people are told that if you do very, very well at school, you're gonna go you're gonna go straight to university, do a law, commerce, medicine or engineering degree, and to go work that job at the big corporation, and like they'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about anything else. I think that's like there's like the other side of it that a lot of people are like kept in the dark from. And another thing I want to mention is like the academia is only one measure, and it's only one way of measuring someone's intelligence. And because everyone's measured the same, to which it's like you have people. So you have people who do very well in school and like get that 99 ATAR compared to someone who say got like 70, 60, or like maybe let's just say 80. The person who got 80 probably wasn't meant for school. And like they produce so much better in life, and that's what they meant for
And
compared
school
to like
doesn't
say
exactly offer that. It doesn't offer that extra route to, or most of the time it doesn't. It offers that conventional path instead of the creative path where you're creating your own things. That's why I don't like the idea of tests, because you're being confined into what you have to do instead of being able to expand your mind and show what you're really capable of.
because that's the thing. Because I got really sick of the whole. I love school. Like I loved I enjoyed like the journey of it and like the growth you got. But I just hate the way they teach you. You know, you get lectured. It's boring as fuck. It's like very very like boring, and like it's just you're like, why is this going to be useful? And to be reality, a lot of stuff I learned in school I haven't used here in Israel.
Yeah.
Even in even in business studies, seriously, like even though we learn all
Really?
these concepts, like yeah, seriously, I haven't really used anything from business studies. Like I probably use finance down the track, but because like the stuff is more aimed at like big corporates, like big businesses. I'm working in a company with 10 people, and all that shit doesn't irrelevant. It's more what you can do right now. It's more what your responsibilities and how you solve problems. And the best way to learn is figuring out shit yourself. And like through making like so many mistakes, going around in circles and trying to solve a problem, which takes 2 weeks and which could take 2 hours.
Okay, so in that case, is that what you're saying the solution to school is? To have a system where you still learn these basic things, the things that you're saying you don't exactly need, just the knowledge, but then you also have a part where you're thrown into something where you have to make mistakes and figure everything out for yourself. Kind of like a practical side to it, I guess.
I'd say that, and also as well, I'd say for Australia is like more. I'd say more focused on STEM subjects. And the reason why I say that is because I'm from Israel. The founding president Ben Gurion, he said two things of what Israel needs to survive. One thing is they need to build as many cities as possible in deserts, and two, I might. That's why I learned from my teacher. And second thing is to really focus on this on like educating people on the STEM subjects, which is science, engineering, mathematics, and the T. Probably that's technology.
Technology, science and technology, yeah.
Yeah, is to really more focus on those subjects because that's what we needed. That's what we need to be able to do in order to move forward as a human race. Because that's what Israel does. That's why Israel is one of the second biggest tech hubs in the world, because they're very focused on that. And we should be more focused on that if Australia wants to be like one of the leaders in like technology in the future. Fine, but more it's like but like to be honest, like I think like if I had to change it, I'll make things more practical and based around like problem solving and like be able to like make STEM subjects compulsory throughout school.
See, I like that
And
part. I like that a lot. Having the STEM subjects compulsory because that gives you the knowledge you need. And then I'd have something like instead of having the normal test that you'd have, I'd have reviews or something quick and not easy, but something that doesn't determine where you can go, as in ATAR wise and uni wise. That just makes sure you remember what you're learning, and then a separate exam system which tests every individual based on their unique, like on their creativity, rather than on the knowledge that they need to learn.
because we're all very different learners. Like you have kinesthetic, auditorial, and also so there's kinesthetic, auditorial, and there's another one. But like the idea of it is that like some people learn through like audio from listening, some people learn visually, and some people learn by doing as well. And generally, like when everyone's learning just the one way, like that's why you're gonna have that's why you're gonna have winners and losers. The winners are the ones that actually are very good at like that kind of learning, and that's what they're good at.
Yeah, it's also the engagement because I remember reading a research study. I can't remember where it was from, but they were talking about how if you're not learning in the way that you're best at learning, then you won't be engaged, and that it causes students to not try as hard. So that's another factor in it as well.
Also, as well, it's more the why as well, because I saw a video once on this guy who does book reviews, and he talked about Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. So when he mentioned the Golden Circle, say for example, like a lot of teachers try to get us to read, but we didn't.
Yeah,
Do you remember that? Like,
yeah,
so like for example, the reason why is because it's like through the circle, it's like they did the what, they did the how, but they didn't go to the why. They didn't teach us the why. And that's why they got pissed off because they just didn't know how to do that. But then, like, say if you talk to, like, say some like entrepreneur, someone who's successful in any area in life, and like are like doing very well for themselves, a lot of them say like they like reading is so important, and they really give you the why. So that's why we automatically like actually if you want to get to X, we've got to actually read along the way as well. So and then that's actually brings us our fascination to it and actually motivates us to actually reach it.
because we have reason to do what we're doing. Motivation.
Exactly. For example, do you have a reason to read Mice and Men or The Great Gatsby?
No, not really. To do well in school, I guess. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, but like what? What's the ROI of doing well in school? Like, what's seriously like? What's the ROI? Like, everyone's gonna get very highly educated no matter how shit you do. To the actual ROI is you actually it's more just getting that A type just to get into your first uni course. That's it. That's it. And that and people are so focused, channel vision on that of like how it's like so important to get into like the top uni, saying like in the UNSW, UCID, Macquarie, UTS. They're all the same. Like the difference is marketing.
Yeah, you learn
That's
the
all.
same content. I actually went online and looked at all the courses for what I wanted to do. The commerce and business courses, they all had the same things, like exactly the same, pretty much.
It's just marketing, and like the thing is, like university degrees are not enough, like for people to go get job, to go get get employment. I'm being very practical here because one, everyone has a degree, and two, like if you just have a degree, worked in a degree, and you don't have work experience, like you're fucked. Like literally, after being told so much that you have to go to that top uni, then if you want to get that degree and don't have work experience, you're fucked. Because that's what I'm gonna do when I go to university. Is that as I'm working, I'm gonna be going to get as much work experience as possible in like startups and tech companies, or like as well like running a society in university or being a part of one, and like a lot of variety of things because the degree doesn't matter. I don't care. Like, not there for the content. I'm here to like have access to the ecosystem to actually take up like what opportunities are around in that of meeting people. Like going on different like trips. I'm traveling around the world at different places, stuff like that.
So then, are you saying that the net like with the uni degree, the networking is what you're looking for? You're not looking for the content or learning or skills or anything like that. And the same for the work experience, or is that different in what
Because
you're
I
looking
think
for?
what I'm looking for more is to be able to is the networking and like work experience. Like the uni degrees, like the thing is, let's be very honest about what we're gonna learn. A lot of it is we're not gonna use it. The one thing it's gonna be used is to like develop our cognitive processes, critical thinking. But it's more of like we actually have to do shit. Like you have to really experience things to really get ahead. Like doing a paper on business and talking about doing stuff is very different than actually doing it.
I agree with that.
and you really learn at a fast and like for you learn at the kind of learning, like you're more likely you're going to learn like at least 90% to 100%, remember everything of 90% to 100% of things of like what you did, than like being lectured, which you're going to remember 20 and 30%.
Okay, I'm actually gonna relate this to a lot of little things in life, like dieting and people who want to lose weight and things like that, or just
Oh
achieving
yeah,
any
also,
goals. Sorry, go on.
sorry. One more thing back to the school system. One thing they should do is teach you how to eat healthy
Why
or
do you
how
say
to cook.
that?
Because the thing is, health is very, 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 very important. It's so important. Like, because when you eat healthy, and when you're educated about that stuff, you're more you're more likely to live like a healthier, happier life. Because like whatever like we eat, is like really affects like how we are. So for example, if you eat shit for like for like if you eat shit such as you eat KFC, McDonald's, like all the processed foods all the time, and you eat greasy food, like you're gonna feel like shit and you're gonna become obese if you don't exercise. But then for healthy food, like when you learn how to cook and you learn what's good for you, you're more likely to like be more healthy because you can do it.
You feel better as well. I've been dieting lately. I have so much more energy. Like I can wake up earlier. I can do everything that I want to do in a day. It's amazing. Whereas when I'm eating Nutella and just crappy foods like that, I'd feel like crap. And if I were to eat healthy like that, um, in times when I had exams and school and things like that, I'd be able to. I mean, I still went well, but I mean, I'd be able to think at a much higher level, and I'd be way more focused.
And another thing, before we go back on topic with stress with the schools with HSC, I find it's ridiculous how people get so stressed out like that last year, and it's like how they think it's such an important year. And the reason why I say that is like year 12 should be something that like you remember like as like the best year of your life. It still is, but you shouldn't come out of school of like being remembering the last thing of like that really stressful exam you have been preparing for and like crying and like having breakdowns over. Because like year 12 doesn't reflect real life. Like, do you have people stressed out all the time about studying for an exam in real life?
You mean at my school? Did I see people like that?
No, no, no. I meant like people who are like, do people like have the same mentality or like live the same way if like people in year 12? So if you get people in real life, do they live the same way as us when we're in year 12?
Uh, that's a really broad question though. It depends. Um, I know the people that I'm surrounded with don't. I mean, my parents don't live like people in year 12 did. They go.
Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. Just the way like studying for exams and like being stressed out like doesn't reflect real life.
Okay, I agree with you in a sense there. I think that having breakdowns and getting completely worked up over an exam is just ridiculous because, I mean, you have your whole life ahead of you and you're getting that worked up over something then, which isn't going to ultimately change your life. It's a learning experience and that's what life's all about. Like all the people who are successful said, you can, like, it's all about failing. You fail, you learn, you succeed, right? But I do, on the other hand, think that stress is important in a sense. Not too much stress, but being able to have stress, it pushes you because, for example, I'll bring it to physical fitness. When I'm doing a circuit or something like that with a group of people, when I'm with a group of people who are pushing it and I get competitive and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be last in this circuit. I want to keep up. So it makes me push harder. That stress of not being last pushes me harder. It's kind of the same thing with HSE in that sense. That stress of not wanting to, or fear even. Stress can come in the form of fear, of not wanting to get that low grade or not wanting to, um, not lose to, but I mean get lower than all your friends or something like that. Because I mean I know everyone else puts the stress on you as well, but I think a small amount of stress is good, but the amount
I
I've
think like
seen in HSC is bad.
it's bad, and like there was a study like the same stress we've had, like the people in the people in like there was a study that was mentioned that people the stress levels we have as a HSC student it was the exact same amount of people that were in like psychological like hospitals was the exact same amount in like an asylum.
Far out.
seriously, I'm not joking with you. I read this stuff up and talked to people. It's like and it's just like crazy, like how the stress levels are. Like I find it's bullshit, like of how it's like of how people get so competitive over academia, because it's just not a thing you just don't get competitive about because like everyone wants to be educated, but it's just such a like oh I want to get better than my friend because I want to, I want to be smarter than him. It's like fuck that dick. Like seriously.
It shouldn't. I get what you mean. It shouldn't be about that. When I was making the point before about saying that that's where the stress comes from, I didn't mean it as in that's where the stress should come from, but ultimately it's where it does come from because your parents are like I know my parents have said before, oh, but how'd your friends go or something like that, and that pushes you because of that, right? That's where the stress comes from. But I think the stress should be there should be stress there, but maybe not from that source.
But with stress, like we're always gonna have stress in life, like, and like no matter what it is. But I think it's more like stress is more a kick in the ass of like actually getting shit done, which I like when you're under pressure. But it's just way used way too much and like in HSC and like it's like really like it's like misused.
100%, I agree with that. I I every time I had an exam, not not all of them, but a lot of the people would like crowd around and be like, "Oh my god, I know nothing. I'm totally gonna fail this," and they're like it was obvious what they were doing in their head. They're talking themselves down outside so that it calms them down because they're so stressed. So it's like a reverse mechanism to calm themselves down, and that just shows like how freaked out they are over the exam, which it shouldn't be that way. It should be more about learning and being excited to learn.
Exactly. Like, well, if you're very stressed like that, this is probably a good situation. For example, have you read the book The Hard Things About Hard Things
No, what's it
and how
about?
to So I only looked at a book review Jack Delosa did when he talked about the book in one of his shows of the Ask Jack Dish of Ask Jack Team, and he mentioned with Ben Horowitz like he was talking about the reality of how hard like hard entrepreneurship is. Like for example, he mentioned like he was running a .com company, and then when the .com crash happened, he had to with his company he had to like I made had to make like 3 rounds of like he had to make people redundant, like sets of them 3 times.
Like,
Like really so many like three so lots of people like 3 times in a row in 3 sets.
okay.
And I did that and then like for 18 months it was like pure hell for him to like try to keep his company alive.
Mm.
And like my point is like through that and then eventually he after all that like happened, like he IPOs and like made a big success out of it. But my point is that that's really like really like real fucking stress when it's just like hell. And then when you have like HSC, we're treated that way, but it's nothing compared to like what we would experience when we have our own companies.
Yeah, when you're on the brink of losing all your money and everything, basically everything you've worked for.
More like more like very like battling like very heavily.
Yeah.
But I think more, but it's just the wrong way to live. That's my opinion of like HSC and the stress is like very. It's like it's not needed.
There's a lot of psychology. I've been looking into psychology a lot. I really love it. It's interesting, and there's actually a lot of psychology involved in this. I mean, you know how you're talking about stress and how everyone is stressed or whatever about HSC. It's because this seems obvious, I think, but it's because of the perceptions, and these perceptions were created by the way that everyone's grown up. So in a way, it's not their fault. It's more the environment that they've been brought up into, so they don't know a better way. Same as like me and you. You have to find that better way or think of it, I guess.
Exactly, because the people they know who are actually like the people they know like who are successful, like who are they? Like seriously, answer this to me. Like who do you think are the people who they see as successful?
Okay,
Like
that's an easy. The people that the ones who okay,
who they know
anyone
who, who they know.
who they know.
So people who they see as successful. Let's just keep it to that. Like I'm asking you that question.
Okay, so anyone who's earning lots of money, probably maybe more than 150K a year. They're working a prestigious job, like I don't know, something like a lawyer or I don't know what they're called, but the guys who are like head of the bank and they're earning millions of dollars a year, but they've got that boring desk job. If it is boring for you, obviously, things like that.
So then that's what people like. If you find the average person doing commerce, going into commerce this year, like that's what they aspire to be. They just want to aim for that 100 meters, like, and like go work in like a bank or maybe finance. But some people like that stuff, and like that's cool. But a lot of people are gonna do it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, following the status quo just for the sake of it. I hate that. That's the thing that most annoys me. You should always follow your passions. Otherwise, what's the point in living? I mean, you only get once, right? As far as we know, anyway. So why waste
As
it
well,
on something you hate?
exactly. Like why waste on something you hate? That's a very good point. And like Casey Neistat, he had a video when he talked about dreams and reality that you have a lot of people have that dream when they're younger, but then when like reality kicks in, like really reality kicks in, and like reality is the end to which like makes them not pursue that dream. And what he mentioned is that if people like we're always gonna have that reality, if we bring the dream closer and closer to the reality, that's what you need to do, like of what you want. Because for example,
Hmm.
like as I said earlier, like I want to be able to. I'm learning how to code through Treehouse. I want to write blogs, and like I haven't been doing as much because you have the realities kick in of living here. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got commitments to go to, and then like that gets too far away. But then for a short period of time, but then like you find ways to bring it closer and closer so you can do both. Like I feel like I'm getting better and better at it. There's still a lot more progress to go.
So, just one thing I want to clarify here. When you say bringing your dream closer to reality, do you mean as in becoming greater, becoming more skillful, a better person, so that you can, so it looks to you as though you're able to achieve that dream, or like what exactly do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that, like for example, say like you if you want to like bring that dream closer, it's like well, no matter what it is. Let's say like start a company and stuff like you're gonna have reality. Let's say like start a business that does social empowerment. Let's just say that's your dream, but then like the reality kicks in like of like life in general, and that brings the dream farther away. But like if you bring the dream closer to the reality, like you've got to bring them together to be able to, as well as you have reality, you're living your dream at the same time.
So okay, so changing your mindset to believe that it can happen.
Like build your dream around your reality
Okay, I understand.
as
Um,
well. Because like for example, with the genera, like you're like you're like you're early stage at the very early stage. Like you're not making money at the moment. Like you can't
no.
do that forever. Like it'd be nice to do that forever. Like if we didn't need money, but you've got to bring that together with reality of like actually how we're gonna make fucking money
Yep.
so I can be self-sustainable too.
Yeah, and I've heard people say this before, like arguments like, oh, if they're starting something that's about social empowerment and they have good intentions, then why are they trying to make money off it? Well, I mean, sure, there's a truth to that. However, it depends where that money lies. If your goal is money, then then you're bullshit about social empowerment. All that's just crap. You're just using that to get the money. But if the money's more of something that you aim to get so you can have enough of it to live, and then any extra that you get is the benefits of doing what you love, then that's different. And I think like I'm not rich, I'm not successful yet, so I don't know whether this is true or not. But I think that when you go after something you love, rather than the money will end up coming, and a lot of it. That's what I believe. And although it's not something I'm particularly going. Oh, I really want the money. Like that's not my aim. My only aim. Obviously, I have goals in terms of money because that's how I see my business growing in terms of audience and money. But it's not a main goal. So yeah,
True. I think because we have that thing, and like usually, like we do what we love, and then the money will follow. That's what it really, because it's more like, because like I'm more like want to do something. The reason why I want to do entrepreneurship is because I want to use that as a vehicle for like social empowerment to solve problems in the world like we live in. and also it's needed like to really push the human race forward. And that's why I like believe like we can use it like for good. And like with money shit, like I think money is a very dangerous thing. Like it can easily like screw up a person, like with like make them more arrogant and make them completely different of who they are. But generally, if you have self-awareness and you have like good morals, like then like it's just we've got to see like how things play out. But like always, like I'm very self-aware of like how do you give back, how do you make the world better, and that's what I aim to do. Like want to really like be able to like be self-sustainable at the same time to be able to give back at the same time.
Yeah, that's actually a part of what I want to do as well. I want to start schools in Africa, and I want to get rid of poverty, or at least begin to get rid of poverty by raising educational standards across the world. But to do that, obviously, I need a lot of money. So I guess in that sense, I do want to make enough money so that I can do that.
Have a chat. I can recommend. I can connect you with a friend of mine who's next student at my school. Like Kate graduated like 7 years ago, and she built a school in Africa, and like through having
Seriously.
no in 19, yeah. I think it's more like because the thing is for my, it's like you could try raise it. And actually, I'm trying not to sound like I've been there, done that. Like I haven't been there, done that. But only with charities you can raise money and stuff to do these things. I can connect you with if you really, really, really want to do this stuff. Like, and you want to do this stuff when you're say like soon, like when you're young. I can connect you with someone I know.
Okay, I'd love that. Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I
like,
do want to do this stuff.
and I went to Ethiopia the other week actually.
What's it like over there?
It's really, really, really nice over there. It's very it's a very big culture shock because like I haven't seen so much poverty in my life. Like
Oh,
yeah, and makes you an example you see like women carrying like really big things, like really heavy stuff on their backs, like for their families. They carrying and like you see a lot of people on the streets and it's very sad to see because it's like because it makes you really appreciative. Like we're so lucky to be able to live in like Israel or Australia, like to be able to be part of the first world society where people are not struggling. Because for example, if you see the person, I have a friend that in year 12 at the moment who's these western suburbs and she's like in like what you would consider poverty, but like
that's right. All good. Um,
all right, so
you
back
were
so So back to what I was saying. So the average person living in Ethiopia is living on 150 US a month. Everything's like very, very cheap there. The currency is like is very shit, like very, very, very shit. As for example, like you can like have a very nice meal there and like at a nice restaurant for like $4.
and they can't even they they can't afford that though, right? That's like very
Yeah.
expensive for them. Yeah. See, that's
Yes.
wrong. Like, when I go to a restaurant and I see people eating and throwing out food, even I do it sometimes when I can't finish my meal. Like, if you see the plates they give you sometimes, it's massive. There's a place in Sydney. I think it's called Gonzilo's Schnitzel House or something like that. And
Yeah.
the schnitzels they serve are massive, and like so much of it is wasted, and there's so many people starving in Africa. It pisses me off. Like I just don't understand how that's possible. Like, oh,
As well, like Africa, like in actually in Ethiopia, a lot of people are actually not starving. Like a lot
really?
of people are actually no, not really. Like people are eating Ethiopians they eat healthier than us, than Western society, people in Western society, because their food's organic and it's not fertilized. So like all their produce is like fresh, cheap. So my point being is that like their food, they're like they're healthier. They're not like they don't have lots of chemicals and stuff like within them. And like so, back to my point. So my point being is that they may not be as rich as us, but like but they like are living healthier lives. But the problem is with water, there's not, it's hard to find clean drinking water. As you've got like, especially in rural areas, as you have like kids like die, like 15% newborn babies die of diarrhea because the families go get water from a river that's like has dirty water. and that's a very, very big problem.
That still pisses me off because we have water, easy access here, and it's not over there. I just don't like the level of inequality in that sense. Like one thing that my friend who didn't come on today, one thing we always talk about is, which she actually convinced me about, is that equality shouldn't be achieved, because if true equality is achieved, then people who really work hard and go after their dreams will get the same as people who just sit down and laze around and just follow the easiest path for the sake of following it because they can't be bothered. And I think that in that sense, there shouldn't be equality. However, I do think that everyone has the right to enough like sustained food and water to keep them alive and shelter. But other than that, I think that's where equality should go. That's my opinion, anyway.
I think the reality is we're always going to have this problem no matter what. Like, even though it'd be nice in an ideal world that we have true equality, but we're in reality, like, it's more like, I mean, like, it's like more like how hard you like work and actually like what you, it's more like how hard you like work, the harder you work, or like you doing be in the right place at the right time, like the further you get in life. Like, I don't want, like if someone has to work has to work really hard, but then they get the same amount of someone who just sits down all day at a couch. It's like that sucks because you're putting a lot more effort, and the person you like it's like you gain the same thing, but one person's putting a lot more effort, more time, more time in it than like the someone who's just lazing around. You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree with that.
As well. But I don't think like with true equality, I think it depends what it is. Like gender equality, I think like depending on how do we define equality, that's the thing. There's many different kinds of equality. Like gender equality, like is a problem like that needs to be solved. I believe because like women and men should like have to be treated the same, and like we need more women in the technology sector because I'm talking from that perspective as it's very male dominated.
Do you think that's a
And
bad thing though? I mean, if they're choosing not to do it, it's not like right now everyone has the choice in Australia at least to go after the path they choose, right? Assuming they have enough money and you know everything like that. Say someone in our position, male or female, but in that sense, if the female is choosing to do something else, it's her choice. Like, do you still think that's a bad thing?
That's totally up to the person what they want to do. Like I respect what they want to do, but in general, we need to get more women interested in like in STEM subjects and like really in the technology startup sector because we need more of them. And there's a reason why we need them because they would like really push the like technology innovation forward. As when you mix men and women together, like working, like you're more likely to succeed in companies. Like for example. Jack Ma did a video on World Economic Forum, and he mentioned that, like in Alibaba, like I think more than most of his management team are like females, and I think that's going to be the next big trend of having females like really be leaders, as that's going to really push. Is that really that's going to push the world forward? Then if we have all men as leaders,
Okay, I'm not sure.
because I think
I'm actually sorry. Go on.
I, hmm, generally, I think like women are smarter. I generally are like smarter than like men. So, for example, in like when they act under pressure, they have their intelligence and emotional levels like the same. Like as well as they have their emotional levels high, their intelligence levels are still high. But for men, when you have like their emotional levels, when the pressure happens, emotional levels go up and their gets lower.
Okay, I disagree with that because I feel that everything we think about men and women and the differences between them or the similarities between them are a result of everything that we see in the world today. So everything that is shown to us basically through the media or yeah, but through the media pretty much. Everything that's shown to us through the media makes us
It's
perceive
bullshit.
what's
It's
bullshit.
bullshit to me. Like I find a lot of the stuff they share with you, they don't. Sorry to interrupt you, but
That's alright.
they this is with Joe Rogan. He said with media, they're not giving you the news because they love you. They're giving you the news because they want to make money, and that's why they manipulate it. Like there's like left wing, right wing. and like give you the wrong eye perception is because they want to make money off you, off like controlling the way you think.
Yeah, I don't really like the idea of that. I've become more conscious of it lately. I'm not really into looking at the media anyway in the first place because the topics there usually bore me. Unless there's something about space, I really love space. That's awesome.
That,
Yeah, but usually I don't look at it. But I've still become more conscious of the things that I hear, and if I think of any examples during this podcast, I'll let you know. But it's made me rethink about things in the world today. Anyway, how about we move on to the next topic? One
yeah,
thing, yeah, we've like just gone like full.
we
Yeah. I wanted to talk about what you think with friends and who you hang around with, how it affects you. Whether, for example, you've got bad influence, not bad as in drugs and stuff like that, but bad as in they're not pushing you. What would you do in that situation?
So could you repeat the question? Can you be more clear with the question, please?
Okay, so I want you to give me your opinion on friends and the influence on your success, and whether you believe in the saying that you should find a new group of friends if they're not pushing you.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that. Because the reason why is because like you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with, and like the five people you spend your time with is a reflection of who you are. For example, if you're with people who are like want to go clubbing every week, they want to go. Sorry, my nose is a bit blocked.
That's so good.
They want to they want to like drink all the time. Nothing wrong with drinking. Like I like drinking socially, but
Yeah.
or like they want to take drugs and shit. Like, and that's who you spend your time with. You're going to become the sixth of them. That's who you're going to become. But like if you're with people who are like well driven and like motivated into a certain area, and like well motivated, say like people who want to be entrepreneurs, want to be in technology, like you're going to become the average of those five people, like who are like success, who are like want to be successful and are driven, as that really pushes you.
Okay, so what?
Go on.
Okay, so it's a bit hard for me to form this question. I just got to think for a sec. Okay, yeah. So if say you have two group of friends, right? I've been in this situation. This is why I'm bringing this up, just in case other people maybe have been in this situation or anything like that. So you have two groups of friends, and one of them aren't influencing you in that way where you have the drive, but they're still your friends, and then you have another group of friends who um are pushing you, but you don't want to ditch the other friends. What would you do in that situation?
Um, let's say we're in real life now. So what we would do is I would hang out with those people who like drive you, who like really push you and really makes you motivated. But with those friends, I mean, it's more like you would see them a bit, you would see them like once in a while, say for like a dinner or lunch.
Yeah, okay.
You like to just to catch up, like for example, those people like you probably like want to be with them. That's cool. Like, but those people just you could just see them once in a while and catch up, see how you guys are going, and it's cool. That's really like with school. Like you see your friends like 5 days a week, and like they heavily influence you. But now you don't see them as much
Exactly. It's kind of good in a
as
way.
well.
You get to choose who
Yeah,
you talk
because
to.
my best friend at home, like he's gonna be my best friend forever. Love him, but like he got so annoying. When I was like with him at school, like I just got very sick of him
Yeah, that happened
as
a
well.
lot. Within my friend group, all of us like got sick of each other just because we were always around each other. It's like your negative points are all being thrown at each other just constantly every single day.
Like pretty much, and like with exactly and like when I get to see my friend like once in a while, it's nice because it's catching up, see how we're going, and like even though we talk about the same things, it's like not in our faces,
Yeah, because it's not
which
every day.
exactly. Or like with friends that help you, for example, my friend Harrison here on the program, like like he's someone like I love like spending time with because like we have a lot of things in common, but also like we help each other out like with anything we need, like we look out for each other, which is like which is something like you really like look for like in friends, and that what makes a true friend.
Yeah. Do you think that reading books is kind of like motivating yourself as if you were having a friend? I mean, it's not a real person, obviously, but I kind of feel like it's pretty similar. Not in terms of the emotional way, in terms of the motivation and the drive. I feel like when I read books, I'm getting that same push as when that I get when I hang around with people who are like that.
Very. So with reading books and stuff, it's more you've got to execute on the knowledge, on the information like you get
Yeah,
from the book. But like when you read it, like it's like you're having a conversation with the author,
yeah, that's
and
what I
they're actually.
mean.
So, um, I mean, it's like yes and no with a friend. Like when you're like with a book, I like you're like being taught something. Like you're taught a lesson, you're being taught about different concepts. But for friend rise, a book's a book. Like you're reading it and like you're trying to learn as much as possible from it. And it's like having a conversation with someone who's like a mentor, someone who's been there, done that.
Okay, so you consider it differently then.
I guess it's different then. For example, if I have a book that's talking to me of like a friend, a close friend, if I'm lucky, it's going to be teaching me something.
Yeah.
But if it's like a regular friend, it's not teaching me something. Just like Mice and Men or The Great Gatsby.
Sorry.
Just like the books I mentioned to you, like the Mice and Men and Great Gatsby, they're like your friends, but you're reading it because you have to.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
but because you need that, like for that moment. I think that didn't make sense, but I tried.
That's right. My question was kind of weird anyway. I was trying to get at what you said earlier, how it's kind of like a conversation with the author. Yeah. Anyway, that's
Pretty much.
how I feel about it. I love reading books for that reason. It's like you're delving into a part of history, like a whole different world. Like, have you ever read, moving away from self help books and going towards like more creative books or novels? Have you ever like felt like you're in that world when you're reading the book? Like you're not sitting there,
Yeah.
like you visualize it so well. It's like
Yes, the Cherub. Have you read Cherub when you were younger?
cheer up.
Cherub.
No, what's that?
So it's a book. So pretty much it's a book series that's based around. So pretty much it's like teenage spies.
Oh, I love that stuff. I have a spy book in my room. Like when I was a little kid, I had all these binoculars and everything, and like this little book that taught you how to be a good spy. It's pretty funny. I was so into that stuff.
I love that. I really love that. That was my childhood reading like the whole series. Like I read like 3 books in like over 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
um.
good. Like let's get back to it. Let's get back to the next question.
Yep. Okay. So, you know how we were talking before about the status quo and how people usually get stressed out at during HSC and times like that? And it's happening
Yep.
like every year right now. I know that for you, mentally you've overcome that, especially during the HSC. Like I talked to you during the HSC, well, I think it was just after it, and you were like, or maybe just before it, and you were like, oh, it's like all cool. You're really calm about it. You had that vision, and you knew that no matter what you got, you're gonna be fine after, and you've proved that because you're doing pretty well right now anyway. So I want to know what advice do you have for students who are in year 12 now or who are going into year 12 in terms of overcoming that situation?
All right. So my advice for people in year 12 is that if there's like something you really like and you know what you want to do with your life, is to really double down on that. So instead of focusing all your time on studying, really focus on that thing that you're actually like passionate about and like very, very interested in, because that's going to provide you more long-term value than than like really tunnel vision on your HSC. That's like one thing. Two thing for the students who are like interested in like startups, technology, and entrepreneurship, I'd say to them is to focus more on reading books, learning how to program, or meeting people like who are like minded.
How did you meet people? How did you start meeting people? Where did you go? Things like that.
So the way I started was Generation Entrepreneur. That's how I started meeting people at first. So I went to the hackathon, I met mentors and I met like-minded people, and immediately my network grew significantly, right? So then that's how, and then when I was talking to my friend about entrepreneurialism, he recommended me to talk to an ex-student from my school, guy named Steve Jokum, and like I see him once in a while, and he's like, and pretty much it's more recommend. So let me get back to my point before I talk a bit of fluff. It's more like going to events like Generation Entrepreneur helped me build a lot of networks and also meeting friends of friends who are interested in this stuff and who you get recommended to talk to. But more I want to talk about Generation briefly. It's the best place to network. It is the best because you could talk to mentors and then more entrepreneurs who are willing to actually speak to you. And if you're like actually well driven, motivated, and unique, they're willing to help you and keep in contact for you. For example, there's a guy named Alistair Hart. He's the head of growth at Hyper Apps, and after he like really liked me, we've been in contact for a few months, and we went out for lunch a couple of times because he's actually willing to help me out because I'm actually well driven and actually doing cool shit.
Are those?
So that's so go on.
No, sorry. I thought you stopped. I wasn't sure whether you were going to continue or not. Go on.
All right, so one more thing. Another thing is and then the way I got my internship at Fishburners for free 2 months was I met Harry Johnson, who founder of Shreddle, at Generation the second time. Then like he brought me to Fishburners for a week, and then I met another person called Bapi Golgar, who then like I told him I'm going to Israel to intern in startups, and he like wanted to take me as an intern straight after high school for 2 months to prepare me. And then when I got in there, then I got to meet a lot of people because I found another way in.
Yeah, and then the ATAR just means nothing.
It did nothing. I knew I fucking hated the ATAR. Like it was I actually because I knew I know what I wanted, and I knew like I had a burning desire, but I couldn't do anything because of HSC because that was holding me back, and like I just hated it so much. Like the whole studying thing, going to a library just to study shit you hate, and makes you really and like really made you feel like shit because like one when you feel like you're putting because even though you try and you're not getting the results you want, it's like say the work is saying to you like fuck you, you suck
Okay,
to you.
can you repeat that last sentence? Sorry.
So when you have the work you do, like when you're studying and when you're doing shit, like the work starts telling you like fuck you, you suck, and then you have
Yeah.
like the academic students who are doing very well, putting the effort in, and makes you feel like you're a failure in a way because like you're playing a game that like you're not good at. But then, and like when you see Instagram posts, Facebook posts of other friends who are having a good time, that really makes you jealous and depressed inside because you have that big bang desire that, like I said to myself every day, once I finish high school, my last exam, I'm going to do as much as possible. I'm going to go out and do what I want. And after I finished, I was happy because I can actually go execute on shit after. But then once, as I'm saying, like the whole social media thing, I couldn't give a shit about that anymore because I was a lot happier. I was actually so much happier when I finished as one, I'm actually going to do what I want, and secondly, I'm actually doing shit in my life. And when I see other people what they do, it's like like it means nothing. It means nothing. Doesn't have an effect because I'm just so happy.
I think you're successful now, Ricky. I mean, I know you're not making a lot of money, but I think you're successful now. The meaning of it to me is fulfillment, and you seem fulfilled.
Because I'm on a journey like I love. Because I wouldn't. So how do you see myself? How do you see I'm a success already?
Okay, with what you just told me there, I can see how happy you are. You're like, you're like, oh, school sucks. I hated it, the ATAR, all that crap. And then you're like, right now, I'm like living the dream. Like, I'm going after what I want. Like, although you're not making money, you're happy. Like, I can see it. It's obvious. Even in your voice, you can tell. The people listening, they'll be able to tell, right? I think that's what the true meaning of success is, being happy. And I think once you gain that happiness, eventually the money will come, all the other bullshit that doesn't really have meaning comes. So that's why I
Exactly,
think you're already successful.
because I'm on the journey. It's not about the end goal. It's about the journey, and it's just so much fun. And if you, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, if you are focused on the journey and you're happy on it, like you've won. Like you've literally won.
Because it doesn't matter what the end goal is. Then you're learning. You're literally becoming who you want to be. You're not really going. I mean, obviously you have a goal in your mind, like I want to achieve this with my business, but with what you're doing, you're becoming a new person, and that's through the journey. That's why I completely agree with you. Like, it's probably one of the best quotes. It's one of my favorite.
Which one did about the journey?
Yeah, about the journey being the most important. It's I can't remember what it was. I think it was something like, um, it's not the ends that count. I can't remember the exact quote. It's not the no, I can't remember it. It was about the journey though. I just remember that.
That's really what it's about. It's because a lot of people like see like they want to go to the end goal. They want to like have that fixed mindset of like finishing this and that. It's the journey. That's like where the high is, like of life.
Yeah, it's about who
It's
you become, right? All the
yeah,
experiences
like,
you have.
exactly. It's just like when we play Yu-Gi-Oh sometimes, like where it's not about who wins. It's about the journey. It's the journey within the game of actually the
Having
dopamine that
that,
released. The
yeah,
dopamine
yep.
releases when you like use a crush card virus.
And I'm like, oh shit, the adrenaline starts coming out. I sweat, grab the next card, bang. Oh,
It's adrenaline within it. Like when you like, so you're about to get screwed over, but then you screw the other person before that happens.
yeah.
That's what's the beauty of like, because that's what I like about competition. Competition should not exist in academia. That's for sure. But in general, like, say if you're like playing like American football with friends and like you're trying to like receive the ball before they intercept, or I'd say you're playing a really cool card game, and like it's just the intensity of like the competition, the adrenaline is what makes it fun, and that's what the excitement is.
Yep, 100%.
When
It's
you when you when you when you like want to beat that person, when you do, it's just that
it's
just
like
how good it feels.
It's like if you think about it, if you think that the end goal is more important, it's like thinking about playing your favorite game, right? And when you're playing, it's like sorry, let me rephrase it. It's like thinking about playing your favorite game, but instead of playing it, you just get a cheat code to go through it and get to the next level and keep doing that instead of actually playing the game. And you're missing out on so much there because you're not enjoying it. That it's like the exact same thing.
Correct. Like very, very, very true.
Anyway, we've talked a lot. I want to talk about one more thing. I don't know
So,
if you're probably not into it as much as me, so I might cut this bit out. But yeah. So I wanted to know. I've been into spirituality a lot lately. It's like it really interests me. I go nuts over it. Like oh. Anyway, do you believe in things like ghosts, for example? I'll start with that.
no, I don't believe in ghosts.
Okay. Do you believe in telekinesis?
No.
Oh no. Okay. Aliens.
Aliens. There
Oh
probably
yeah.
might be. There's probably There's probably different kind of species on different planets right now.
But you
I
don't
would
believe
say.
that we have contact with aliens right now?
Well, I don't really. I don't really believe we have contacts unless Area 51's keep are hiding something from us.
Okay, alright, I got a cool story to tell you. So, um, you know about the Sumerians, right?
Yep.
They're the first civilization.
Yep.
So, yeah, first civilization known to mankind. They had paintings on the caves, right? And one of the paintings surprised this scientist or archaeologist or whoever it was that was looking into their civilization. The reason was because there was a disc, and then it kind of showed like a story. There was a disc, then a fish creature came out of the disc and went into the water, and that was basically the image. So then he asked the tribes people, or the ancestors of the present time, what is this story about? And they told him that the story's been passed down for generations, and it's that that these people came down from the sky, these fish creatures, and they told them about the stars. And then he said, okay, what did they tell you about the stars? And this was back in like the 1900s, early 1900s, right? And the African guy or Sumerian guy, whoever it was telling him things that we've only discovered like in the late 1950s. I don't know exactly what the things are. I can probably send you the link. I'll look it up on YouTube again. And it really interests me that they were able to find something that we weren't until we had the technology that we do, like later on. Same sort of thing with like the pyramids. Like, how are they able to build something that we can't even build right now?
Really, can't we build pyramids at the moment?
Sorry.
Wait, can't we build pyramids at the moment?
Okay, so every single block is 1,000 kilos, right? And they have to get it to that height as well. It's not just laying it on the bottom. And then they have all the sophistication with inside the pyramid. Uh, some guy was talking about it on YouTube. It was like a documentary, and the guy was saying we don't even have. He was a professional, so I believe it. And he was telling us how we don't have the technology, or we barely have the technology to create something like that. And if we attempted it, it would be very, very, very hard. So imagining that they were capable of something like that so long ago, there's got to be some other explanation for it. That's what he said.
Here's the thing with history, like because a lot of this stuff, like with when they say how the pyramids are made and stuff, I generally like it. I like find it hard to believe unless you have some evidence of they use something of this one thing they used to build it. But I think with them, it's more of like this is from on top of my head. It's more very, very complex engineering, and probably they had thousands upon thousands of slaves.
So you're right, yeah. There is a theory that goes with that they had these track sort of things, and they have like the buildings and the structure of these tracks created and everything in the modern world to test it out. They have tried it, but it. I guess if you got the whole civilization onto it, it might have worked. I'm not sure.
Well, that's very true. Like, but like generally, I'm not very, very interested in history, like especially learning from an academic point of view. As like if I do interested, like I'd rather be at the place and like experience like what it was actually
Yeah,
like.
like time
That's pretty
traveling.
cool. Pretty much like for example, so in Ethiopia, I went to a place city called Alibela, and
Oh,
it's considered the Jerusalem of Ethiopia. And they have these churches that are built underground, and like
wow.
when they're built under, they're like made out of rock, so they're like carved as they dig down. And the reason why is because Muslims in the 17th century like were constantly burning down Christian churches, so they built it out of rock so they can't burn down. And just the architecture is incredible. And it's like very unique than like something you don't see in like Western society.
It's like when I
Like you
went
could see
to
it
get going.
because it's like you're in Indiana Jones. Because you seriously like it's like that. You go in tunnels upon tunnels, like underground, and like you have like with the church, you see from a point of view, you see the Christian side. The church is like shaped as the Christian, as the Christ is like Jesus Christ cross, the cross of Christ. It's shaped as that, and it's beautiful. Like just check out my Facebook on that, and like you'll definitely know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, when I went to Italy, it was the same sort of thing. Not about the churches, but you know Michelangelo, the artist. Some of the things
Yeah.
in it was in the main city, right? In the Vatican City. One of the buildings that they had there, inside, his artworks looked as if they were coming out of the wall. Like, it was just amazing. And even now, you don't see stuff like that. Or it's like rare, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I know. It's
sorry, go on.
anyway. Anything else?
No, that's about it. Thank you for coming on today, Ricky. It was awesome.
No, I just really enjoyed today. And I'm really helped to start my day at like 12 o'clock, so it's good. I'm gonna go play some football with my friend Harrison.
Oh, have fun. is it
Thank you.
is it noon there now?
Yeah, it's during the day here, yes,
Okay. All right. Well,
and it's Shabbos at the moment, so probably everything's gonna be closed by this afternoon.
what did you say it was at the moment?
It's Shabbat. We nickname it Shabbos.
Okay. What? So everyone stops working for an hour or something like that?
No,
More than
no,
that.
more than that.
More than
Harrison, do you
that?
want to?
Sure, why not? Basically, Shabbos, I don't know, I'm sure. Anyway,
Okay.
basically, Shabbos is the day of rest in the Torah. And basically, people stop, working or using electronics. They basically eat a lot, sleep a lot. It's a social event, basically. People, can play sports, but it's basically a day for everyone to like disconnect and like talk to their families, which is nice in a sense, but it's every week. So, really religious Jews do it more.
And like generally, like say in like Tel Aviv, like a lot of the local, like the shuks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So the shuks and a lot of the businesses like that's like in like local neighborhoods.
I live in Jerusalem,
are
so
closed.
it's
Oh,
a lot
really?
different. You can at least go to a corner store that might be open, or like an AM PM. We don't have that. Everything's closed except for gas stations.
I find that to be pretty cool. It'd kind of be like the whole town just kind of falls
Yeah,
asleep.
shut off. They're with their families. They're at shul. They're just like disconnecting from they don't have to worry about work or making money. They can just go back in their homes. It's a nice concept.